When you asked it to measure the spiritual activity, I'm not moving there. That needs help. That is a little soul, that is a little spirit.
That's a child.
That's a child.
Is it ever dangerous for the person having the exorcism?
Yeah, absolutely. You can kill them too.
As Halloween approached, I began to notice that things were not all well in my flat.
So I've been feeling quite ill since I came here. I've got like sore eyes. I had a few nosebleeds.
A strange sickness had crept over me, and I've been hearing noises in the night that could only be described as strange and rattling.
It's like this deep thumping noise.
On one occasion, I even heard Big Dill laugh in a surprisingly high-pitched tone from another room. A laugh he claims never happened.
I'm not saying it's ghosts.
I began to suspect it might be ghosts, and I wasn't alone in this conviction. A recent poll found that 34% of British people believe in ghosts, and a staggering 9% have apparently communicated with the dead. Just last year, Poundland began selling Ouija boards, channels of communication to the spirit world, provoking a huge amount of paranormally inclined parents to criticise the chain for putting their kids at risk of possible possession. Poundland found itself in a tricky spot. On one hand, the store wanted to be seen as promoting the safety and welfare of children. On the other hand, doing so would also involve Poundland taking a definitive stance on the existence of ghosts. And they eventually did, removing the toy from shelves and thus confirming the reality of a paranormal world. A striking move from the same company that advertised chocolate fingers with the tagline, "For a friend who loves a good finger." Clearly my fears were justified, so I got in touch with a man who could help with the spooky situation. Paul Devlin, ordained Buddhist priest and bona fide exorcist, has helped hundreds of people across the world through his cleansings, blessings, paranormal investigations and, of course, exorcisms. I wanted his expert opinion on whether my house might be playing host to the supernatural.
What does it mean to be an exorcist?
It's about helping people. That spirit or that demonic presence needs to come out. So either the house can breathe and people living in it can go back to normality, or the person that is being possessed can be free and go back to their normal life.
A lot of people at home, what they'll be wondering, when you talk about spirits, what exactly that means, what these things are, what they act like, whether there are different types.
Spiritual entities are what were humans, but their soul lives on. And their spirit lives on. And if you were a spirit, you were a nice person, you were a nice guy, you were a nice lady, then in spirit you are going to be that person. But if you weren't a very nice person, then you're still not going to be a very nice person. So for every good, there's a bad. So you will get child spirits as well, very playful, might flicker on and off the lighting, you might hear them running around and laughing and joking.
Which is still terrifying to me.
Ghosts were humans once, demons aren't.
So ghost and spirit means the same thing.
Yeah.
Whereas demonic.
Demonic is a presence, is a thing. So you get taints of negative energy that stick to you. And when you get enough of them, they form a consciousness. So
demons are created by people.
They are created by people or humans, or they can be called in.
Right.
By black magic or by rituals. Incubus and succubus, okay? So when it forms a collective energy, it goes to the belly button and sucks the energy to break the skin to move in. That is a succubus. It is not sexual. It is not sexual. When it breaks the skin and goes into the body, it incubates and goes for the central nervous system to try and control you. So it's incubating. So that is an incubus.
Can they ever be sexual?
They can be sexual.
What can they do sexually?
With people who are possessed, their partners will say they will say that they bite during sex, they scratch, they draw blood, they're very aggressive, completely out of normal character. That is a good sign of possession.
Right.
Paul was beginning to describe behaviour I was all too familiar with. Not that it was necessarily my behaviour, but it was certainly the way I acted and approached all sexual relationships. And when he took a brief video in the basement, my fears only intensified.
So what we're seeing here is orbs, right? Orbs are the first stage of manifestation. Now a lot of people say that orbs are just dust, but if you can see, that doesn't move like dust. Dust would fall like that.
I began to wonder whether the practice of exorcism might be dangerous.
There is a lot of danger in it because when you're dealing with demonic forces, demonic presences within people, they want to stay in that host, that person, we call it a host. They don't want to come out. I think the one that scared me the most was the episode where we were called into a theatre, and one of the other group that came into us was possessed.
Yes, it's nasty now, is it?
And he attacked me, and at that point I had no knowledge, or I didn't have enough knowledge.
Yeah. Is it ever dangerous for the person having the exorcism?
Yeah, absolutely, you can kill them too.
Night fell on our quiet Bloomsbury Street, and it was time to confirm the paranormal state of the house. As me and Paul descended towards the gloomy, potentially spirit-ridden basement, I began to consider the history of exorcisms. As strange as these rituals might seem on the surface, exorcisms are an ancient and widespread practice that play a crucial role in a huge amount of belief systems. Of course, most of these exorcisms took place long ago, but between the 1960s and 70s, the media attention that exorcisms received caused a sharp rise in the practice in the United States. And here in the UK, we've seen a similarly drastic increase, predominantly in churches of West African origin. Members of the scientific community have often rallied against these forms of exorcisms, elucidating that the people exorcised are often mentally ill and subject to harsh treatment. But Paul had explained to me that his form of exorcism was entirely different and much gentler in nature. I could only hope that I didn't actually require one.
So basically, this is a neutral position, but when you asked it to measure the spiritual activity, I'm not moving that, right? So that points towards you, okay, and then beyond. So I would say you're round about, probably about an 8. So thank you, okay. And again,
That's terrifying.
Paul led us from room to room to measure the level of spirit activity across our home.
just thinking about it, right? Let's go in there. So
Yeah, right.
this is the second.
My
Okay.
mate housemate, the
So-
housemate AJ.
But-
This is Paul, he's an exorcist, he's just coming in.
All right. So this is pretty calm in here.
Okay?
So we're in a good place compared to the other 2 rooms, right? So that's good,
Yeah, that's what we want.
right? Let's calm in.
You're
That's
okay.
what you want.
All right.
Okay. Now,
This is Paul, he's an exorcist, he's just going to check out the room.
Hello, mate.
hello. How you doing?
I'll
All right.
see ya.
Good
You
to see
alright?
you.
We're just, we're just going to check out your room.
Yeah, mate, go for it.
We were off to a good start. My housemates Brad and AJ seemed to be enjoying spirit-free rooms. But when we investigated Big Dill's room, where energy levels were highest, things took a turn for the paranormal.
When you're using dowsing mods or any form of dowsing, it's about the questions and the intent behind it. So you would say, for example, in this room is the most active. Is that's because if it's a female, can you take her to the other side? Right. So I now know it's a
Okay.
female. Okay.
There's a girl in your room.
Right. So what have you been up to?
That,
And then we ask, are you between the ages of 1 and 15? So there's no.
older.
Let's go up to 15 to 20. No. 20 to 25. Or was it 25 to 30?
That stills in those categories too.
Right,
Just pointing
okay.
it out.
But connecting to the spirit in Dill's room was just the first step. To release her, Paul would need to guide her to peace.
I'll ask her to walk up to the gates with me. Don't look back, don't look back, don't look back. Gates are open, you go through, my love, you're okay. Go through, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Right, she's gone.
It was nice to know that the girl held captive in Big Dill's room had been freed from her suffering, but that wasn't the only spirit in the vicinity.
I think you're probably looking at about 3 or 4.
Okay.
Probably there's a child in here as well. I'm picking up.
Jill.
That's running around.
Where?
Just in the corridor.
That's AJ.
Okay, so
Though I was attempting to nervously alleviate the situation with some comic relief, it was clear that Paul's hunt was far from over, and in my own room we found quite the surprise.
Right, it's just there, yeah. It's got a
So-
very creepy dark boiler room.
okay, and that's right. There you
Oh dear. It's wiggling around a lot.
go. Right.
Is there a possibility there's something in there?
Yeah, there is somebody in there. That needs help. That is a little soul. That is a little spirit.
That's a child.
That's a child. And she's carrying, and that's like in the corner, carrying the corner.
Paul had sensed the ghost of a child in my boiler room. This was an unprecedented finding, and one that required the precise, intricate touch of angels.
And when you call angels in with children, they come in and take the child.
Okay. Is angels something that you go to specifically for children? Like that's.
I normally use angels either for guardians of the site or for children.
Right. So that corner. Gone.
I was feeling startled, to say the least. Whilst Paul had freed the spirits from our home, I'd been sucking in their negative energy for quite some time.
You can hear that.
The only way I could be fully free of their grasp was to undergo a cleansing ceremony. And though I was confident I'd be safe in Paul's hands, the idea of confronting the ghost energy of a young spirit child head on left me somewhat unnerved. As I prepared myself on the sofa for the ritual, I tried to put my fears to one side and believe in Paul's skills. However frightening the process might be, it couldn't be any more scary than the ghosts that were in mine and Dill's rooms.
To concentrate on my finger, just like an optician. Now, what you're going to see is you're going to see the dowsing rod going from left to right, which is measuring the energy. Okay, and I don't want it to be doing that. And if you go over your crown, and again, that's more aggressive.
So do you think that the child spirit that was in my room, it's likely the little girl's left?
It's the trauma energy that you've taken on.
Right.
That is more vigorous than it was before, because that is where it is.
It's in my back.
That's what's holding on. Okay, and as we come down, boom, 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 and it's still really, really.
So it's all over me.
So you've basically got somebody doing that.
Right. So the spirit's gone, but very much the child's energy is latched onto my back.
It was like spiritual acupuncture.
Yeah.
And then we flick it out, move it again, flick it out. Right, I just want you to think of the happiest memory you've got.
Okay.
Right,
Yeah.
times it by 10.
Okay. I'll try.
Right, now you know the emoji smileys that you put on a phone,
Yeah.
right? Imagine one of those emoji smileys. I want you to put it in your heart,
Okay.
times it by 1,000 and put it all over your body. Yeah, you can feel that, yeah?
I can feel it. Yeah.
Right, now you can
I
you
feel
can
my
do
life.
this at home. You feel that
Just
energy
put it
smiley, you
everywhere.
feel it up, feel that vibrating, feel it vibrating, all over your body now. So happy
I feel
place,
tingly.
there you go. For a happy place, happy place, happy place. Oops, daisy. So I'm going to take a deep breath in and breathe it out hard. And again, breathe in and out.
It felt like a load had been lifted from my chest. With the house clear of spirits and their energy removed from my back and legs, I finally felt comfortable. And when Paul took a new video in the basement, the lack of orbs only consummated my newfound peace. The idea of exorcisms may feel silly to a lot of people, but is it really as odd as it seems? The practice has formed a functional part of many religions for centuries, and whilst it may seem antiquated in nature, it's no stranger than the foundations of any belief system, be it old or new. And however anachronistic the rituals might appear, they're surprisingly relevant in a contemporary society that's seen belief in the paranormal actually increasing, even among atheists. There are many possible explanations for this rise in supernatural belief, and some of them are obvious, like increased exposure to ghost-related media, but others are far more interesting. Research from Professor Chris Barder suggests that people are increasingly less likely to let outside forces dictate their beliefs, disregarding institutional belief systems in favour of personal ones, forms of spirituality outside of the strict dogma of religion. After all, paranormal belief is individual and democratised, often a combination of various faiths that can be malleable to one's personal taste. On the other hand, perhaps the revival of paranormal belief could imply that people are finding new ways of coping with the malaise of a sceptical, non-religious, and frankly boring society. And of course, if the spirit world does indeed exist, maybe people have just been interacting with ghosts more often. To Paul, what other people believed was irrelevant.
For the 20,000 people who might mock it, there might be 20 who really need the help.
Although I still wasn't sure I believed in the spirit world, I was glad that other people did, that life was still being breathed into age-old beliefs, enriching our world with practices that revolved around spirits, demons, and windows into the past. And I was touched by Paul's respect for antiquity, his commitment to bring fearful people the peace they deserved. But most of all, with Halloween fast approaching, I was glad that regardless of whether my house was previously haunted, I knew it wasn't anymore. That I could cuddle up with Dill for a spooky movie and be secure in the knowledge that I wasn't going to play victim to any nefarious spirit. That was just so long as Paul never left.
How far you'd fall were you to call?